here from the Ritz-Carlton, which is so amazingly beautiful. And I've been in board meetings all day with the board of realtors that I'm with, that I'm going to be president-elect of 2024. And we're talking about things that we can do to educate the public on why you need a real estate agent to represent you. And so many other things that people need to know when they're going out to buy a home. And a lot of people don't even know where to start. So it's interesting because my own son just bought in Nevada, abandoned California, and he went out to Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, actually, and he purchased a property there. And he kept constantly calling me, going, "Hey Sharon, what do I need to know about the loan docs? Hey Sharon, what should I expect when the notary comes out to sign my loan docs? Hey Sharon, I'm like, did you do a home inspection? Did you do a walkthrough? What are the things that you need to know that real estate agents do for you? Because for some, we're being attacked right now. Our industry is being attacked. So a lot of people on my YouTube channel, all of you people that watch my Let's Talk Real Estate. And I'm hoping to get other guests. It's just really hard to line up guests when I am coming elect president of Tri-County's Board of Realtors. And with that, I go to leadership meetings and I find out how I can help homeowners, how I can help buyers, how I can help people invest in real estate, and how I can help new real estate agents stay in this business, because we're under attack. Because back in some other states, there's lawsuits. There's class action lawsuits about how real estate agents are paid. Now, the sellers know how they're paid because they sign their listing contract. However, a lot of buyers don't know that when you're working with a real estate agent, we're being paid. And of course, they know we're being paid. We're not just driving around because we want to drive them around and show them a home tour. We're driving them around because we're going to be compensated, helping them find a property, but not just helping them find a property. We're going to help them because of lawsuits. There's tons of lawsuits that happen in real estate transactions. I can't talk. I've been in meetings all day and kind of tired, and some more tonight. So the thing is we have to represent them. We have to understand the contracts. We have to go ahead. Hi, how you doing? I'm trying to see who's there because I don't get to see everything right away. Wait, amazing. Thank you. I love answering you guys' questions. So if I don't answer your question, because it's really hard to read this and try to set up in the middle of somewhere right after a meeting. So I set up in the corner of my Ritz-Carlton room, and hopefully the lighting's okay. But anyway, some of the things that we were talking about that I took notes that I knew I'd be able to tell you guys about is there's a lot of brand new real estate agents who are looking to me to help them pass the real estate test. But that's not even the issue right now. The issue is, how is our business going to be in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and how are we going to get paid? So what you have to understand is, in the commercial industry, hi, how you doing? In the commercial part of real estate, the commercial real estate agents are allowed to negotiate their commissions in as they're representing clients. But in the real world of residential real estate, we can't see somebody's commission offering at, 1.5% or 2% and go, okay, so we're going to call you, or we're going to write this into the purchase contract. We can't do that right now. So, but at the other point of the conversation could be, well, what happens if we take away the buyer's compensation? How is the buyer's real estate agent going to get paid? So a lot of discussion about that, but what has to be understood is, we're not just here like finding the house or finding the buyer and then just throwing it in the air and say, take it from here. And a lot of people who do for sale by owners think that, oh, it's so easy just to sell a property. And I got to tell you, I had a brand new agent whose license was under me, and we were negotiating actually for his family that was going to buy vacant land. And they were going to buy two separate pieces of vacant land. And with those two separate pieces of vacant land, they were going to build a truck. Okay, so when you're buying vacant land, you have to make sure that you can do what you're thinking you're going to be able to do. So not only did we have to do research, we had to talk to the city. He had to have a meeting with the neighborhoods of the area. So this is all stuff that commercial people, like when you're a brand new real estate agent, I ask you, are you going to do residential or commercial? And every so often I have some hands go up and they're like, I'm going to do commercial. And I say this, so just so that you know, if you're going to do commercial real estate, number one, the transactions are harder They take number two, they take longer. Yes, there's more money involved in them, but more of them fall out than the residential ones. So you can do fewer, bigger deals that take longer and pray to God that they close and everything goes smooth. Or, in fact, that one I was just telling you about, the 2 vacant pieces of land and building the truck stop. Once we got to the neighborhood study where the neighbors had to come in and vote on what they wanted in their neighborhood, it fell all apart. But then we picked another lot and we went through the whole thing all over again. And the kid says to me when we get into escrow, we got into escrow. I'm all done. I don't need you anymore. And I'm like, now the games begin. The games begin when you go into escrow, because this is where you have to have a chart on how to do the things that you need to do and when you need to do them. So the other thing I tell new real estate agents, if they're thinking about going commercial, then they need to go sign up at a college and take some college classes and get a degree in in commercial real estate. So there's a lot more to commercial. If you can't afford or you don't go to a college, I know Cal Poly Pomona has commercial classes, then you have to find somebody who's willing to take you under their wing that does commercial and teach you commercial. Now, at Real Estate Trainers, which is, people ask me where I teach, and I'm pretty sure I say it all over the place, Real Estate Trainers in Anaheim, right by the Angel Stadium, and a lot of our classes are online, so you can watch the classes from the comfort of your own home. And if you do that, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. However, I don't know when the classes are coming up, but I do know that we have Armin, who also teaches a cram course. So we have, I believe, 4 or 5 cram course instructors. Armin, myself, and let me think, Lauren, God, I can't even say his name, it's Lance. Lance and I and Armin and Rhonda are the 4 main instructors that teach the cram course. And we all use the same material, we just deliver it a little bit different. For some reason, throughout my life, things happen to me that are on your real estate test. Isn't that super bizarre? So let's talk about other things that we talked about. So real estate agents are involved in their community. And if you don't get involved with your community, where are you going to get business from? And it's interesting because a lot of brand new people ask me, how do I get started? How do I get business? And oh no, interest rates are high. What are we going to do? You guys, do you know what interest rates were when I got into business? Interest rates were at 8% when I got into the loan business back in 1986. Roughly 1986 is when I became a processor. And if you want to become a loan officer, the best place to start is being a processor and understanding the mortgage process. And not just a loan officer, if you want to be a real estate agent, invest some time in yourself and learn the mortgage process, because a buyer needs to understand the mortgage process. And if their loan officer doesn't explain it to them, or their loan officer doesn't know it, or even their real estate agent doesn't know it, then there's going to be some friction on the time frames of when you're going to close. So I had a class at Real Estate Trainers that I called Understanding the Mortgage Process. And that was made for real estate agents, but guess who came to the class? Loan officers. So that class was really, really good. What I'm going to be doing with that class is recording it professionally, and I'll be uploading it on my website page. But I hate when I say but my website page, the reason I said is because just now in my head I was thinking, crap, that thing's down. And that's why I hate having web pages. But my guy who was working my web page, unfortunately, was in the hospital for a while. So some people went on to buy the vocabulary that I have, and they were not able to buy it. So anytime you guys have a problem with anything that you're trying to get from me, text me directly and I will take care of you. My phone number is 714-745-6348. You always, this is part of your education from me, you always say your phone number twice whenever you're leaving a message. So that's 714-745-6348. And you slow down when you talk and you leave messages, and that says, hi, I was watching my finance video. Awesome. And it says, I mentioned that you got the IRS too. Oh, yes, I did. I think I saw what you said. And if I don't answer your question, I'll tell you what it was. So I saw that you said I got the IRS. I think you're asking me when I got the IRS to remove a lien from one of my clients when I helped her sell the home on the short sale. Is that what you want to know about? Go ahead and let me know. I know it takes a little while to type it in. But it's so funny because, sometimes I forget what I'm talking about and then I got to be reminded. But there's so much to know about real estate. I was talking about understanding the mortgage process. So I'm going to professionally upload a video for that. But right now we're working on the vocabulary, because what I did was I took the basic vocabularies of the words that you're going to use on the California real estate test, and I took my cram course information that I teach on my stories that I do, and I combined them into one, and that's the vocabulary video. Now, I say some things incorrectly because you guys know I'm human like everybody else. Plus, the day I was filming in the studio, it was so hot. Okay, cool. I'll tell you about that in a second. I'm going to talk about that IRS lien that we got removed. So when I was filming in the studio, it was like so hot. I thought I was going to die. It was when we had that heat wave in California, and I was wearing these cool slacks that matched my top, and it was super hot. So at the end of the vocabulary video, I literally thought I was going to pass out, but I made it through. And the vocabulary video is being uploaded, so it's a vocabulary video with the PowerPoint with 1 free hour of coaching. I think it's going to be $78. I have to talk to my tech guy, but that's available hopefully in the next couple of days. He just got out of the hospital today. And then the other thing I was telling you, okay, so that's understanding the mortgage process, the vocabulary, the understanding the mortgage process. I don't have it professionally videotaped yet. And that's going to be the class where I teach you what happens with a buyer. Buyer volunteer me read them being pre-qualified. I might hire somebody and give them a script because a lot of people don't want their personal information out there. So let's see, what's that say? I have a question regarding property. I'm an individual, buys property, assuming crops come with it. Are you talking about the corn and the crops? Okay, let me see if I can answer you that. That one's actually pretty easy. And if I don't answer you, go ahead and feel free to text me on it. Like I said, I'm still at a retreat for Tri-County's Board of Realtors because I'm going to be the 2024 president. So they're already training me and getting me ready to do the things that I have to do. And the leadership meetings that you guys, you got to get involved with your board. Now, the thing is you have to join a board right now to do the real estate business. Once you've been a member of the board for 2 years, you can become a director on the board. And so there's so much I want to tell you guys. That's why I say, let's talk real estate. So let's go back to the board. Then I'll do the question on the IRS, and then I'll do the question on the crops. How about that? Okay. Congratulations. What did I do? Oh, I don't even, that's so cool. So everything's going really good. And I don't know why you congratulated me. You're going to have to tell me. What did I do this time, right? Oh, duh. On being the board president. I know. It took me I want to say, I was involved with the board for a good 6 years before I actually made it. I know. I finally figured that out. I'm a little slow sometimes. I think that's because I couldn't sleep last night. I woke up in the middle of the night and I just didn't fall back asleep. So that's when I was uploading the videos on the Ritz-Carlton. That was pretty cool, huh? So that's on my TikTok. So I kind of go back and forth, and whatever I put on my TikTok, I usually put on my YouTube channel. And I also try to get it on my Instagram, but that thing's hit or miss because sometimes it just shows me old videos and I'm like, why are you showing me the old videos? So I'm not a tech person. I'm a real estate. First, I was a real estate investor. Then I was a loan processor, then a loan officer. And then, okay, so now follow me on this one. I went from being a loan officer to getting my real estate broker's license. Now look at the time frame though. I did not do purchase loans for other people until probably, thank you, until probably in the, I want to say the late 90s. And so I did, back in the day, to become a loan officer, all you needed was a real estate license. So I was a loan officer from, I want to say 1989, because I was a processor in 86. My brother and I opened our own real estate mortgage company, which if anybody's interested in understanding how to do that, it's not that hard to open a mortgage brokerage if you understand the process of the loans. So understanding the process of the loan is just the baby step to move forward in your career. But then in 2006, I got my broker's license. And I did that because I didn't know about how amazing being part of the board was. I literally was going to start my own. That's why my email is carepro@live.com, because CarePro stands for California Real Estate Professional. And I felt that we had a huge problem with professionals, and we still do, because a lot of real estate agents don't like reading contracts. And there are, of course, and what happens is, you get your license, and if you don't keep educating yourself, then you're going to fall behind the eight ball, and everybody else is going to be doing the business better than you. And the whole reason, here we go, the reason we were talking about that today is good professional real estate agents get involved in their community. They get involved in charity events. They go to them, they meet people, they help answer questions. And those people could be thinking that they want to buy a home, but they have no idea who to ask or what to do. And sometimes they're scared to ask a real estate agent for help because they don't really want to tell the real estate agent about their finances. So they don't realize that they need to put the cart before the horse and talk to a loan officer or somebody that has knowledge about how to get the loan before they talk to the real estate agent. So that's one of the things. Let me see what else I wanted to say. Oh, also, code of ethics. One of the first things when you get your real estate license and you join a board is you're supposed to learn the code of ethics. And you're supposed to do what's right, your fiduciary duty to your client. And that's where I was talking about, you need real estate agents to help you with the contract. People that do for sale by owners, I don't even know how somebody could take the most important, largest investment in their life and try to walk through muddy waters and not know what contracts they need. Because even a for sale by owner has to do the transfer disclosure statement. And there's lots of moving parts that a lot of real estate agents miss. And if a real estate agent misses it, how are you going to do it if you're for sale by owner? Thank you for helping me. You're very welcome. You passed the test. That's awesome. So tell me where you're working and text me, because I'm always willing to help you guys with your new clients and maybe even pre-qualify them and tell you what they're qualified for. Because what's happening right now is a lot of the buyers that were pre-approved are not understanding that, guess what, with the interest rates being as high as they went to right now, and like I said, when I started, they were 8%. Buyers still wanted to buy, sellers still wanted to sell. But not only were they at 8% when I got in the business, when I bought my first property, I was in escrow and interest rates were at 8. And then my loan officer called me and said, I'm really sorry, Sharon, but you know what? You're not going to be able to buy this condo. And it was a brand new condo. Look at that. Oh, they're taking the test on Wednesday. Hey, talk to me before you take the test on Wednesday, and I'll see what I can do to help you. I'm always trying to help you. If you haven't taken the cram course or you need some help, I have some secrets for you. So text me. You know my phone number, right? Should I say it again? Text me if you're going to be taking your real estate licensing test in the near future. If you're going to be taking your MLO test, you could also text me and we'll talk and see how I can help you pass that test. But anyway, so let's see, what else was I going to mention? The code of ethics, homeownership rights. So with real estate agents, we're there to help you with your rights. Do you know that even... Cool. Okay, good. I'm glad you text me. So after I get off live, where can we text me? At 714-745-6348. And you know the rule, you always leave your phone number twice when you're talking to somebody or when you're leaving a message. You say your name clearly when you leave a message. And the second time for the phone number is 714-745-6348. I want to say I am teaching the MLO cram course next week for the MLOs. I'm teaching it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. And that's the MLO cram course. I don't know when I'm teaching the real estate one next. Aw, thank you. So I don't know when I'm teaching that one next, but I am doing a video that's going to be so phenomenal. Okay, this is what it's going to be. I have somebody who wants me to tutor them. And I have a lot of people that want me to tutor them. And when I say like $100 an hour or something like that, you have to realize that as a loan officer and being president of the board, and then my movie got another nomination. Yay! My short film got another nomination, so I'm going to be going to Atlanta, Georgia, and they're going to be using my movies, the poster and the pictures from our movie, the still shots, for the marketing for the film festival. So now, between being a real estate agent and teaching, I'm actually a real estate coach. So most of the deals that you see me do, if you were able to look and say, okay, Sharon did this purchase or Sharon helped this seller, usually it's because I'm coaching new agents. I know, Thank you. I'm coaching new agents. So right now on Saturday, I have an agent in Long Beach who needs me to go out with her and sit down with the buyers and figure out what they qualify for, what I was going to say with the new interest rates. Because if somebody qualified for 800,000, now they probably qualify for, I want to say, closer to like 720. Now the other thing that's happening is the prices of the homes are coming down. And with prices coming down, not a lot, so we're not going to crash. Everybody thinks we're going to crash. They're coming down a little bit to compensate for the interest rates. That's what I'm seeing. So I have a phone call to make when I get off the YouTube with you guys. Well, before I do that, I go straight to my TikTok. And I try to talk about the same thing, so you guys might get bored if it's the same thing. If you're looking for me on TikTok, it's SS, because my name's Sharon Suzanne, SS Butler 8. And I'm pretty sure you'll find me on my TikTok there, and those go up super fast. I can't even read those. So I always tell people just to call me. Now, on the crops. So on the crops, it depends the relationship. So you said you were purchasing it. If you're purchasing a land that has crops growing on it, because I know people ask me to do a video on this, I'm like, it's like 10 seconds. If the crops are growing on it, the crops are growing in the ground. It's like a tree, okay? It says, don't forget the IRS. I'm not going to forget it. I'm going to do it next. So if the crops are growing in the ground and they're still there, if it's a seller-buyer situation, those are fixtures. Crops are fixtures. They're actually called something else. It's a French word. Anyway, so those are fixtures, and because they're planted in the ground, if it's seller-buyer, the buyer gets it. In fact, this is on your real estate test, you guys. The buyer gets the crops because they're paying for it. That's the answer. There's two answers that are right. So what you have to watch out for on the real estate test, unfortunately, sometimes there's two correct answers, but you have to know the one the Department of Real Estate wants. So I believe it's C, if it's in the right place on the questions and answers that I know. So the question is, the crop, the buyers are looking at the home, they see the property, they see the crops growing on it, and they think, oh, it literally says, I have plans for the corn. And then it says, well, the seller has planted the corn and harvested and was working on it. And they haven't harvested it yet. They're getting ready to harvest it, but they sell the property and they have plans for the corn. Who gets the corn? And the answer is the buyer, because they're paying for it. Now, if the real estate agents communicated, see, the problem with our whole world, not just real estate, is lack of communication. I think that was the first time I got in a fight with my ex-husband, is he read a text I sent him and he didn't understand what the text meant. So he kind of took it in wrong content. So the problem with everybody is they're not communicating. If you communicate that the sellers are taking the fixtures or the corn, then the sellers are going to take it and the buyer's going to agree to it in the contract. So what people have to understand is whatever you put, oh, thank you, I couldn't understand it. Oh, so you got it now, right? Cool. But watch this. Now follow me, because there might be another question on the crops. The fixtures, you guys, what you have to think about is be open-minded, communicate, and know that everything is negotiable. So let me tell you, before I go any farther on that, remember, everything's negotiable. Let's say that it's landlord-tenant situation. The landlord rented the property out to these people and they grew corn on it. Landlord-tenant means, okay, we grew the corn, we're going to harvest the corn, and we're going to take it with us. So if it's landlord-tenant, they can take the fixtures with you. Just like I have a home in Irvine where that property, it had kind of ugly fixtures. I'm just going to say it. It was the fixtures that came with the property. And I'm kind of watching the clock because I have to go to dinner and catch a bus. We're in Laguna Niguel. We're going to Laguna Beach on a bus to go for dinner. And I don't want to miss the bus because I have no idea where I'm going. What's that say? Just wanted to let you know. Yes, congratulations, you passed your test. Yeah, I love seeing that. That is the most amazing thing that I see when people tell me they pass, especially when they pass because of me. I don't know. I must say some crazy stuff in my videos because somebody said I say focus, focus, focus. So anyways, with the crops, if it's landlord-tenant, like I was going to say at my Irvine house, my tenant switched out all my fixtures. She asked me if she could, and I said, if you switch them all out, what you've got to do is you've got to keep them, so when you move out, you have to put them back on, because I don't have a man to go and put those back on for me. Wednesday, studying for hours. You know what? Don't study so hard. Have you taken the cram course yet? Because if you take the cram course, you know it's word association. So with word association, you'll see ad valorem, and that means according to value. So the question reads, yes. The question reads, um, in the United States of America, taxes are based on an ad valorem basis. What does that mean? And the answer is according to value. Now I'm going to give you another one because I got you online and you're taking the test on Wednesday. There's another question about a hardware store. The dude sells the hardware store and he wants to stay in the building. So he sells the building, keeps the hardware store that's in the building. And what he does is they're going to ask you, what can he write off? And the answer is going to say in it, the four answers are there, but three answers don't have any numbers in there. But the one answer that has a number, it says he gets to write off 100% of the rent. So you see hardware store, 100%, that's the answer. The other thing is if you get stuck when you're taking the test, make sure you know that C is the most popular answer on the test. Now don't do all C's, because we had one student at Real Estate Trainers that did all C's and he only got a 58% on the test. So now I'm going to talk about the IRS lien and any kind of lien. But wait, I got one more thing, I'm sorry. One more thing was about the fixtures and everything being negotiable. I got to tell you, one of my first deals was over in Seal Beach, over at the end by the Jack in the Box. There's this really cool condo complex. And I had a handicap buyer, and this one property had a ramp, and it was super awesome because I was able to, it worked for him. And when we were in there at that time, oh my gosh, it was like it was late 80s, early 90s when seafoam green and pink were the colors. I hear they're coming back. That's scary. But anyway, my whole house was seafoam green, pink carpet. I didn't pick it. The carpet was already there. And I purchased all bright white and mirrors. So imagine white mirrors and seafoam green. And what happened was we walked into the property that he was going to buy. And I looked at him and I said, and you guys can do this. I said, if you buy this property, I get that. It was like I want to say it was a herring. It was a bird that was a herring, and it was wood carved, and it was pink on the bottom, and it went up to the top, and it was green. It was perfect for me. So I said, if you buy this property, I'm going to negotiate in that statue. And he said, sure. So that was the first thing I ever negotiated into a real estate purchase contract, was that wooden bird that was in the bathroom of the condo. So I've done others. I joke around about drum sets all the time. When I see a drum set, I'm like, I'm negotiating that in. But I already have one. I don't need another one. All right, now back to the IRS. So, and then let's see, what else can I tell you about? Don't forget to watch for understanding the mortgage process, because that teaches you the time frames that you have to follow when you're buying real estate. Whether you're a real estate agent or the buyer or the seller, you want to know your time frames. So back to the IRS lien. Okay. Anytime that you do a real estate transaction, anything could pop up when we call it, you're welcome, we call it dating down. Dating down means at the very last minute of the deal, you scored, oh, you're going to do it this time. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to get past this real estate test. Just don't overthink it. Because if you're an overthinker, I have a student that I called who's, I don't know if he'll ever see this, but his name's Adam. And Adam was an overthinker. In the class, he was asking me all questions, and I kept going, you're overthinking this, you're overthinking this. And he said to me, he's like, I know, I can't stop overthinking. You got to let it go. Take a deep breath, go in and take the test, focus on yourself. If somebody's distracting you, raise your hand and ask the proctor if you can move. I had one girl that had somebody coughing and sneezing next to them, and they just couldn't. So now I'm going to try to focus back, because I say focus on the IRS and any kinds of liens. So the very first thing I teach my real estate agents that I'm coaching and that have their license under me is, when you're going on a listing appointment, we should go ahead and pull a preliminary title report. The preliminary title report, let me think, oh, you're an overthinker, don't do it, don't overthink. If you haven't seen my video on how to do the T thing is where you just answer the questions you know first, then go back and answer the ones you don't know. I have a lot of videos on taking the test, and you should probably watch them and take a deep breath. And the other thing is, don't sit and stare at a question for a long time. Answer the questions you know first, then go back and answer the ones that you kind of knew but you weren't sure about. That's why you're going to do a T. On one side, you're going to do the ones you're not so sure about, and on the other side, you're going to do the ones you have no clue about. When you're done with the test, you should have about 8 to 12 on one side and about 18 to 20 on the other side. So that's less than 40, and you can miss like 42 to pass the test. But then you're going to answer the ones that you kind of thought you knew but you weren't sure, because after you took the test, you saw some questions that gave you the answers on that. So you're going to do that. And then you're going to answer the ones you don't know. If they haven't cleared into your head, go with your gut feeling. Look at the longest answer, look at C, and then see which one you like best out of the longest answer and C. A and D are the least popular answers. Now I'm going back again, and we're going to focus on the IRS thing, okay? So the IRS thing goes like this. The IRS, any kind of lien, any kind of HOA lien. I had one that was an HOA lien that was $32,000, and I didn't find out about it until the day before I was supposed to close escrow on a deal I was double ending. And so, if you're double ending a deal and you're making $35,000 and you find out your client has a $32,000 lien, do you want to give the money that because if the client doesn't have the money, the only way it's going to close is if you have to put some of your money in. That's a whole nother thing, okay? Because you guys as sales agents that are new, you can't make that decision to give your money away, because it's up to your broker if they're going to allow you to give your money away. So as a broker, when somebody tells me, oh, I have this fee I have to pay, sometimes I'll cover it for my clients, because that's what's in the best interest of my client, my fiduciary duty. And, okay, so I'm not going to make, let's say you have a deal where you're going to make $12,000. And you're like, well, I'm not going to pay that $3,000 or $4,000 because I don't want to give up any of my commission. And then the whole thing falls apart. Okay, so the whole thing falls apart. Wouldn't you rather make $8,000 than no $1,000? And wouldn't you rather see your client in a home and have them refer you out? You have to think logically, and especially about your fiduciary duty. So the first thing I tell listing agents to do, or any kind of agent that's working with a seller, obviously that would be a listing agent, a new agent, a seasoned agent, anybody, is pull the preliminary title report first. Because that way you can look on that, see who owns the home. You can see if there's any liens recorded against the property, and they'll know what's happening. So with my client, I knew she had problems because she hadn't made a house payment in 10 years. She was in the property, and the reason it was so long is because when she first went into foreclosure, the house was worth way less, and she owed about $850,000 on the property, and the house was worth like $520,000. And because she was upside down, and that's called insolvent, because she was insolvent, I could go to the IRS and I could say, okay, the bank is allowing me to sell the house. So the bank allowed me to sell the house for, I think it was $685,000, even though she, at that point, when we finally got to the sale, she owed him over $1 million. But the house needed $200,000 worth of work. And then at the last minute, when they dated it down, that's when the IRS lien came on her. And just like any type of, I want to say, short, like on the short sales, when you're negotiating those, sometimes the banks will pay off something that's liened against the property in the negotiations so that they can not have that property on their books. But with the one that I'm talking about with the IRS lien, she owed the IRS $200,000, okay? But the bank, we showed the IRS how much the bank was getting, we showed how much the property was getting, and we proved with the closing statement that the seller wasn't getting anything, and that this was in the best interest for the bank and for the buyer and everybody that was involved. It was in the best interest. So what they did was they showed that my seller was insolvent, so she had no money. We proved she wasn't getting any money out, and the IRS, it only took about like 2 weeks. It took less than 2 weeks for us to be able to close that. So when you're talking and you're working in real estate, you're negotiating a lot, and there's a lot to negotiate. So they're also talking about that. They're talking about when you hire a real estate agent, when you hire an attorney, you hire an attorney that's been an attorney for a long time, because you know that they have experience. They know that they're going to negotiate for you. They know they're going to do the best job for them. So you're going to pay them more per hour. Well, what they're talking about now, kind of throwing it around, is it's possible that, hey, if I have 30 years of experience and I'm going to negotiate in that bird. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to negotiate a better deal for you. Don't you want me on your side than somebody who's only been in the business for 6 months or a year? So they're talking about paying seasoned agents more. So we don't know what's going to happen with the industry. But you guys, that's how you stay educated, is you join your board. So I answered the IRS question, I answered the corn question, and now I'm going to tell you about the board. Is when you join your board, you have to anyways to be in the business. So after 2 years, you can get nominated to be on the board of directors, and then you're going to go to the CAR meetings. Now, I might have some licensed people on right now, and I might have some licensed people watch this. The information that you learn and how you're 10 steps ahead of everybody else when you go to these meetings is something that proves that this is your career. You're dedicated to doing this, and by doing this, what's going to happen is you're going to be more educated. You're going to help your sellers, you're going to help your buyers, you're going to help the people that are investors. And if I was an investor, I would hire a real estate agent that also did some investing. If I was a buyer and I wanted to buy a property, I'd ask my real estate, how many deals have we done? And better yet, how many properties, kind of thing. So that's the other thing, is I tell my new agent, and you're looking to become a real estate agent, you might want to keep that other job until you figure out how much money you need to put aside to either quit that other job or team up with somebody who's going to be there for your clients. Because this is not a part-time job. This is a full-time job, working as a real estate agent or a loan officer or an investor in real estate, because you're always trying to, like, I had a friend that was flipping, and him and his wife flipped a ton of homes. I think a ton is 13 to 20 a year. And it says, thanks, I figured out. Cool. So you're going to get that IRS fixed? Call me if you have any questions or you need help. So, they were flipping a bunch of homes, and if it wasn't for the board of realtors, remember, it's realtor. I say it wrong a lot because a lot of people get used to putting an A in there, and it's not realtor. So anyways, and he was flipping homes, and if it wasn't for his board and getting some help and talking to them about an issue that happened on a title on a property, they probably wouldn't have been able to close. So when you get the information from your board and you go to the meetings, you're going to learn a lot, and it's a benefit to you and your clients. And the meeting that's coming up is in Long Beach, starts on October the 10th, which is a Tuesday, and goes until October 10. Wait, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it'd be 10, 11, 12, 13. So on the 13th, on Friday, the CAR meetings are over. So if you get involved, it's 3 times a year. It's usually January, and then at the end of April, beginning of May, we go to Sacramento. We fight for homeowners' rights. We help homeowners with their property taxes. We help homeowners when the ADU thing came out. So, yeah, ADUs. When ADUs came out and the cities weren't allowing people to put ADUs in their backyard, guess who fought for the homeowners? The California Association of Realtors. That's who fought for them. And who fought for, when COVID happened, for independent contractors, not just real estate agents. We fought for independent contractors to be able to get some type of unemployment so that they could feed their families and stay in their homes. So real estate agents do more than just sell homes and help people buy homes. We do a lot for our community and for people who are learning to invest. So, I remember on TikTok once, I was on there and I said something about being a real estate agent, and the guy's like, real estate agents suck. They make way too much money for what they do. Yeah, just say that when you get in a lawsuit because you didn't sell your house correctly, or you didn't do the disclosures you were supposed to do, and something went wrong with the transaction, because that happens a lot. And a lot of people don't understand that when you sign on the dotted line on a real estate contract, it's a binding contract. That binding contract you're stuck to. So right now, a lot of sellers are falling out. So it's bad enough that we don't have inventory, but sellers are falling out of real estate transactions right now, contacting us, asking us if they can get out of their listing contract. Not really. It's a binding contract. You signed the contract to sell the home. Now, you may not be selling it for as much, and if the contract says that you're going to sell for that much, then you can say, you know what, unless I get that amount, I'm not going to sell it. So that might be able to help you. But once you sign a contract in escrow and there's a buyer, you're selling your house no matter what. So, and the other thing that people need to learn is time frames on certain things. One of the things that I learned about, because I'm involved with the board, is the notice to perform. And I don't know if I want to give out this nugget to you guys, but this nugget is phenomenal, because think about this. Let's say you're in a real estate transaction. This is going to save you money. If you're in a real estate transaction and you see that the buyer's not going to perform, they haven't not performed yet. You think they're not going to perform. So you go ahead and you release the notice to perform and you say, you haven't performed yet. Well, my cutoff date isn't yet. So how can you say I'm not performing yet? So I had a guy that just called me from Florida that used to be here selling real estate, and he got a notice to perform. And I go, when were you supposed to perform? And he says, we're supposed to perform in 3 days. I go, so you got a notice to perform before you didn't perform? And he said, yeah. I go, well, too bad for that real estate agent on the other end, that listing agent. He goes, why? I go, because if you don't say anything and 3 days go by and then you don't perform, and they say, okay, it's been 3 days and we gave you a notice to perform a couple days ago, and you go, oh well, and you don't answer them, because now they have to do another notice to perform. They have to do the notice to perform from the day that you didn't perform. And if they don't know they have to do it again because they did it at the wrong time, guess what? You just bought enough time to get your client to close escrow. Pretty cool, huh? So I hope all this stuff really, really helps you. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. You can even leave comments, do some thumbs up and all that good stuff. Leave comments, I'll answer you, or call me or text me. And I hope that I gave you some really cool information today. And I will see you next Friday. You're very, very welcome. I hope that you did pass the test. You passed it today? Congratulations. Cool. Let me know where you're going to be working. And hopefully I'll hear and see you guys in the real estate world. See you next Friday. Bye.